Can Trevor Lawrence ever be a top 10 quarterback? Let's talk about it. During his college football season, or his 3 seasons that he played, he was, if not the best quarterback to play in college. It wasn't that he just had great stats, it was that he was also very talented. Now, when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I definitely see a talented and amazing player, but with him being on a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, that changes a lot. Of course, the Jaguars' most talented receiver being DJ Chark, but then again, they don't have much. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have much to work with on that team. To me, Trevor Lawrence is definitely one of the better talented young quarterbacks in the league, and here are a few ways that, or here are a few things that need to happen in order to make him one of the better talented quarterbacks statistically wise. First of all, the Jacksonville Jaguars as a team just needs to rebuild their team in general. They need to rebuild some of the receivers. They need to rebuild. The running game, it's pretty decent now, but just the team as a whole, the O-line, their defense, their coaching, everything about that team needs to be changed. Another thing that I feel like that needs to happen is adjust how he played in college to the NFL, and by that I mean, college isn't as hard as the NFL. Of course, college is still like a pro football game, but the NFL is a little bit harder because those are like the best of the best players. Of course, part of it is like what I said before, building a team around him, making sure he has at least some half-decent receivers, having a good O-line, having a good defense, but part of it does rely on the fact that they need to adjust him to NFL instead of just college football, because it's just way harder in the NFL, and especially for a quarterback, it's harder for them to get better, especially on a crappy team. I mean, you can kind of relate Trevor Lawrence to Baker Mayfield in the terms that I feel like Trevor Lawrence is better than Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield was probably one of the best quarterbacks in college at that time, and he went to the Browns, which was just an awful team, and then he didn't have anything to build around, which is why he was never considered a good quarterback. And the same thing could and can happen to Trevor Lawrence if if the team just doesn't build anything around him. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure my dad told me that Gardner Minshew was a first-round pick by Jacksonville, but they ended up trading him to another team. Part of that being was that he just wasn't putting up the stats. He wasn't as good. Don't get me wrong, Trevor Lawrence is better. He won 2 or 3 more games with the team this season, but I feel like Trevor Lawrence can do better if they just put up some more receivers for the team. If the Jacksonville Jaguars can spend their 3rd or 4th round picks on getting maybe a wide receiver or tight end that can work well with Trevor Lawrence and his flexibility, yes, I feel like that would help. But I know the Jaguars already have a couple of receivers already, including a half-decent running game, so if they could just spend at least a couple of the draft picks, getting a couple of defensive picks, and then getting maybe one offensive lineman pick, and then maybe getting 1 or 2 of those picks based off a wide receiver pick, and then picking somebody off in the offseason, maybe somebody who hasn't been on the team in a while, maybe a veteran, maybe somebody who's going on to hasn't been franchise tagged yet that they could maybe trade for. That would extremely help the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence to being a top 10 quarterback and maybe leading them into the playoffs. Now, I haven't really watched the Jaguars play, but I am a fan of Trevor Lawrence. I feel like he can do well. I feel like he is one of the more underrated quarterbacks from the 2021 draft class, but there's still, like I said before, those couple of things that need to happen in order for him to do well in the NFL. Just remember, it's those 2 things: rebuilding the team, especially on defense, offensive line, just in general, rebuilding the team and adjusting Trevor Lawrence to the NFL, like especially on a crappy team. That would help a lot. Like, how Baker Mayfield transitioned to the Browns. Kind of do that with Trevor Lawrence. Anyways, those are just my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any recommendations for videos you want me to do, or my thoughts on any couple of players you want me to do, leave it in the comments, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.